Okay, we are live. Intro here. Wow, another high energy intro.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. You did that, Pete?
I did not do that. That was all The Godfather.
Wow.
Joe
No,
Cocker.
you told me that before. Wow, that was
I had told you.
that was some
You know, we did, I forgot to mention this to him, but on YouTube, we can't monetize it now because we got a copyright claim or something, I think, from the music. So I need to, but we're not actually selling ads.
Did he rip something off? I mean, this is some news here. Is this breaking news we got?
No, I don't, actually forget I said that. That was all off the record.
Oh, can't take it back. No.
Well, okay,
we're going to get Archive Social to archive it.
I hope not. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Friday Nooner. I'm Pete McIntyre. I'm the managing editor of GrepBeat. With me is not Joe Colpe. He's sitting today out, and instead we have Robbie Allen, who, among other things, should we go from most recent to like reverse chronological? So now, founder and CEO of Startomatic. Okay, before that, CEO of Infinia ML, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before that, you were very briefly a PhD student at UNC for like a week, something like that. Started Automated Insights. That was previously StatSheet, so I'm still going back in time, right?
Yeah.
And before that, the youngest ever distinguished engineer at Cisco. Now, is there like a record book at Cisco? Like how confirmed is this?
Wow, you're calling me out on it. I don't know. It's hard to confirm, but I don't necessarily, to be honest, there's even like, what is a distinguished engineer whole conversation you can have there. They have different types of distinguished engineers. And
oh, I didn't know that.
Like when I first joined the company, there were like, 50 in the whole company. It kind of grew after that. But if they let me in the club, they had to have lowered the requirements.
It's not just like if you have like gray sideburns.
No, I don't think I had gray sideburns at that time.
Not at 31?
No.
Okay, that's good. And of course, folks can jump in the comments anytime. We will likely respond, especially if you say something nice or mean, I guess.
If you say something mean, then I might make something up about what you
right.
said.
Well, we may not put it on the screen for everyone to see if it's mean, but we'll remember. We'll definitely remember. All right, so let's talk about some things and pretend like we did some of this ahead of time. But one thing, I'm sure everyone subscribes, obviously, to the GrepBeat newsletter. And yesterday we were talking a little bit about edge computing because Riot had a event on it, and they had the CEO of Edgix, I guess. It's like EDJX. It's a startup in Raleigh in edge computing. They just raised $10 million on top of $6 million they raised a couple months ago. I don't know how they spent that fast, or maybe they did.
It's COVID, man.
But I mused in the newsletter what I thought in a very layman's terms. And let me run it by you because it turns out you know something about edge computing. So I was saying, okay, the cloud is far away because it's like in the sky, right? So if we're sending data to the sky and then you want to analyze it, well, like it's kind of far away. It might take a little bit of time. Whereas edge computing, the networks are much closer, like physically closer. So if you want something, say you want your autonomous vehicle to know what to do in this intersection, like right now, I don't want to be like asking the cloud, like looking up there's enough drivers that are doing that, kind of looking up what should I do now. I want its eyes on the road. Is that at all accurate?
Yeah, no,
What is
actually,
edge computing?
I think that's pretty close. I mean,
Wow.
it's really not a complicated subject. Its definition is in its name, edge computing. So instead of computing in the cloud or in a data center, it's computing at the edge. That is something that's close to where the activity's taking place. And probably the easiest example is autonomous cars, right? So those are essentially edge computing devices driving around. And it's just like you said, you can't, typical cloud computing is you make a request, the request goes to the cloud, it does some calculations and then sends back a response.
Right.
When you're in kind of, you need real-time type of feedback, often you can't wait for that. So autonomous cars is a good example of that.
But the edge of what?
Well, it's the edge of like if you think about you as an individual, you store all of your photos in the cloud. Like you don't store them, on your home desktop, right? You store them. That's the edge essentially is like the edge is where the activity's taking place, where the computing or, where the person that needs some activity done happens. There was a movement. That's what the whole cloud is, to move that activity to a large centralized place that you access over the network. But again, there's certain use cases, and that's what you do with your photo sharing, for example. But there's some use cases where you don't want that lag time. You want it to happen right where you're at, so that you don't have that lag to get the operation done.
So is it just sort of bringing it back on your hard drive, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, you can even think about, like Alexa is a good example. And again, none of this is clear cut. There's no like this perfect definition of edge computing where everything is clearly in or out. Alexa is kind of on the fringe of that. So in some ways it's a cloud-based device because most of the information it accesses is in the cloud, but it also does some local computations, right? That in terms of interpreting what you said or knowing when you said things, those are happening locally as well. And that's going to happen more and more where you see that kind of logic and functionality moved out closer to the individual so that you're not dependent on making a round trip to the cloud to get the answer.
But are you then going to need, I don't know, your own networks essentially? What does that mean? So this autonomous vehicle, where is it? Oh, it's not that it needs data.
It's almost always working together. So another example of edge computing is like smart homes. Right. And that actually can be comprised of multiple devices. It may not just be a single device like Alexa. It could be your smart thermostats, and that's going to a central hub in your house that's making decisions about, whether or not to control the temperature in a different way. And so that's an example of a more localized version, but there's still access. Maybe it's still sending videos back to the cloud. Right. So most of these use cases there's some things happening locally, but then it's also still feeding it back to a centralized location.
So if you're like, I'm an edge computing startup, what am I offering that is hard to get now?
Well, it's a bit of autonomy. Again, like you're not as dependent on cloud infrastructure. Again, you have some logic built up that it can perform things without having a network active at the time. Or maybe it's like you can do a bunch of work, and then when the network becomes available, then you can send back information. So oftentimes it's things that you need the activity done without wanting any latency. It's something that requires, maybe real time or near real time responses. That's what IoT is kind of in this space as well, right? That's
all right. So that's why Riot
is
interested. Okay, because for IoT they can't be sending all this stuff back to the cloud. There's no time.
Or they can.
There's no time.
Yeah, they can't do it like now and get a response back immediately if you're talking about thousands or millions of small devices.
Right. If you need the responses now, that's here. But there's some things that are like, we can look at that later.
Yeah.
That can go to the cloud. All right. That's a good explanation. But while we have you here, we're going to define other buzzwords like AI and machine learning, ML. Because literally every startup that we look at now, it's like, oh, it's ice cream, but using AI. Like, what? Yeah. I don't even know what that sounds good, actually. And the ice cream is good. So you were going to define the two of them? How do you want to do this?
I would say this is probably the question I get asked the most in relation to like what we do at Infinia or some of these other things. And again, this is another thing, just like edge computing, you ask 10 different people to define it, you'll get 10 different answers, right? So it's not like there's a.
All right, so just give us the right one.
So I'm going to give you the Robbie version of that. And so with artificial intelligence, I classify that as a segment of computer science, because really there is no one thing that defines artificial intelligence. It's actually comprised of multiple subfields within computer science. So there's vision, there's, doing things with natural language. There's a bunch of different components. You can even things like decision trees and others, that there's a whole group of things that comprise artificial intelligence, which is roughly speaking, trying to simulate intelligent actions via software. And so what does that mean? So the next thing is machine learning. I think that's what and so how would you define that? Well, actually I have kind of just the most basic way to define machine learning. I have a little chart I'm going to show here.
Is there any song, like a background music, something you just ripped off the internet?
No, but I mean, I can
we can
sing if you want. Would you?
Whoa.
There we go. Okay. So here, this was a diagram that a professor, he's also written some books on machine learning, Pedro Dominguez wrote, so at the top is how you would talk about what traditional programming looks like. So traditional programming is somebody writes code. They sit down and bang out code. And what that code does is typically interact with data, right?
All right, so the program is the code.
The program is the code.
Right.
There's data, which could be input, like you typing in your name. And the computer then takes that data in the program and spits out output, right? That's kind of like a really simple way to describe traditional programming. Well, machine learning, it's a different paradigm. So with machine learning, no one sits down and writes code that reacts to specific data. At least theoretically, this is how it works. In practice, it's not quite that clean. But there's actually, you take a bunch of data and you take a bunch of output, and you run that through the computer. And essentially what that does is produce a program at the end of that, so that when you pass data in the future through it, it knows what output to give you.
Well, what output are you putting in? And how can it be output if you're putting it in? Isn't it input?
Well, no, it's, it depends. And typically here output.
I mean, I know how words work is all I'm saying. But okay.
Well, you could. It's
with the data you're putting in. What's the output? What's an example?
So it could be what it's referred to as the output is like the result you were expecting. So again, hot dog or not hot dog is one of the examples, right? And so the data is a bunch of pictures. You're throwing in a bunch of pictures, a bunch of PNGs or GIFs, and it is GIFs. And then the output is you then also pass in, these are the pictures with hot dogs. And all these other ones don't have hot dogs in them, right? So the output is like the thing that you wanted to find.
Right.
And that often requires, I mean, it's not like all this happens for free. I mean, you still have generally humans involved with labeling, we call it labeling. And then you put those two together. So, the computer then tries to say, well, what about this data, these pictures, I can kind of discern actually translates to it containing a hot dog or not. And that's the computer that it writes. Now, again, this is super simplified, but I think, it's another way to kind of think about machine learning that at least I think is kind of useful.
Okay. So I would have thought that all these hot dog and non-hot dog pictures are all data, basically.
Yes.
And then
all the pictures are data, and then the output is like you went in and said these are all the ones with hot dogs in them.
Right. So like some combination of you giving the little like, hey, these are the hot dogs. The rest of these are not hot dogs, and you're throwing in enough of these pictures, some hot dogs, some not hot dogs, that it's like, oh yeah. Computer's like, I know now to tell one from the other, and now essentially that's it. So you've taught it to program itself.
And this has actually gotten really good now, right? So some of the things that you can do with machine learning, it just wasn't even possible prior to 2010. And so I just want to give you a couple of examples. I'm going to zoom out for a second.
Whoa.
Just to give you
people disappear?
Yeah, I mean, actually that's not machine learning, but this image thing I was talking about, I want to give you an example. Let's see if you can see that. Okay. So here is an example. This is actually Adam Smith. He's a good friend, and he was.
I feel like he's lost weight since then.
Yeah, that's not a very flattering picture of him, right?
Yeah, he's fitter than that.
But then on the left, that is Adam as if Adam and Rambo merged into one.
Okay.
So it's gone way beyond saying, well, does this picture contain Rambo or not? Now you can actually take two pictures and merge them together. And I have some other examples.
I think that's called Photoshop, right? No?
Does this one look?
Is this me?
Who does that look like?
I don't know. Is this supposed to be me?
Is that?
No, who's it? I don't know. Joe did this a couple weeks ago, putting my face on like all these.
That was Captain.
It was pretty.
And
disturbing.
the last one I have is probably my favorite. I don't know. Can you guess who that one is?
Not really.
Really? You can't?
Who's that?
That's Jason Kaplan.
Oh, really? I'll go back.
Oh, you want to see them again?
Yeah.
So you don't need to let me.
Exactly. No way. All right. Jason Kaplan, Bull City, it's your partners, and
I just randomly picked some people.
This is
Wrangle just got covered in the Triangle Business Journal, so they got some good coverage there. So I wanted to kind of bookend that with some coverage here on today's Nooner.
Okay. All right. And it is true though that almost all the startups to look at are all claiming they're using artificial intelligence or AI enabled, which is really like we're using a computer basically.
Well, and I mean, to be honest, I don't see it as much. It was crazy 5 years ago. I mean, every startup had to have a machine learning slide. Yeah.
Well, I will say,
but now I don't see it quite as much. And part of it is because my belief, after having run a machine learning company for a while, is that in the next few years, even people won't, companies won't refer to themselves as machine learning companies or AI companies because it's going to be in every right. It'll be like calling yourself a database company, right? No one would say, "Hey, look, we're a cool database company." Yeah, every software product typically has like some sort of database in it. And it's the same with machine learning. Virtually every kind of software is going to have machine learning in it. It won't be this thing that's the differentiator.
So what is it? Jim Roberts saying, careful making fun of the short general. Is that Jason Kaplan? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I guess that's who he's.
I don't feel like calling him short is in the like stop making fun of him category. Seems like
I want to do
as I say. Not as I do. Here.
What do you mean making fun? I mean, I just randomly picked pictures and like threw it, ran it through this thing. So
don't talk to me, Jim. You said that. Okay, but I've got here's a few hot startup ideas. You can take these if you want. The Uber of AI. That kind of put that together. The Airbnb of machine learning. That's what you can sort of run. DoorDash meets edge computing. Can't miss.
Would they deliver the edge computing to you? Is that?
I don't know. These are just ideas. I'm more of an ideas person. Perhaps you or someone else could execute it. Big picture. I like to stay very big picture, which is perhaps why I haven't actually had a successful start. All right. Hey, another thing that happened this week is CED released the companies that are going to be presenting at its virtual conference. And actually before that, I will say in my, several years here, what a star-crossed conference that has been. So I started at GrepBeat, say late July of 2018. So in September, it was going to be like almost right away. It was like, oh my gosh, I just got here. We have to do all this thing. Very exciting for CED conference. And then Hurricane Florence came. So we moved it to the spring and we moved it back. They moved it back with the life sciences, which apparently had been what it was back in the day. And then they split them aside. Anyway, that actually happened. So that was in, March of 2019. And then this year in March, it's going to be bigger. We were going to sponsor, GrepBeat was going to sponsor the after party the first night. It's going to be March 17th, which is already the best day of the year, the most important holiday known to humanity, and St. Patrick's Day, just in case that wasn't clear. And obviously that did not happen because the world changed. So that it became virtual. Now it's virtual again. Will they ever have it in person again? Yes, I think, right?
The hard questions on the Nooner. I would say, I mean, they will for sure. I mean, this is like the bread money for CED. So they're gonna. That
was actually a rhetorical question. But here's the real question. I'm just wondering, how much do you miss the conferences and other in-person things? And what are sort of the real costs? And are there? I mean, there might be some benefits to it. But let's say a CED tech conference type thing, not necessarily specifically that, but something of that ilk.
Well, so I don't know if you knew this, because this was a little bit before you, but I was the co-host of the 2017 CED Venture Conference. Me and that guy right there. Can you?
Jason Kaplan?
Yeah, he was my co-host for the
only slightly shorter than average general.
Yes. And so in general, I'm not a big conference fan. Especially I don't think it's a great place to go to like learn stuff. And typically it's just there's a lot of dead air. I mean, if you want to network and meet people, it's decent for that. But I always struggle a little bit when people come to me and say, I want to go to this conference. And it's like, okay, we'll go. But, my expectations of what you're going to get out of it are pretty low.
If you're talking about like early stage startups, they should be.
I've been to conferences since the beginning of my career, and I just don't think they're that valuable, to be honest with you. For the content. I mean, at least for the investment that you have to make in terms of time. Like, and not to say there's not good content in conference, absolutely, but like you're going to go for 2 or 3 days. That's an expensive use of your time. And I don't think you get the returns not there. But if you can make some connections while you're there, then it maybe is worth it. And that's the thing that, I think that conferences still can provide value. And I don't believe that they're going to turn into these virtual reality things. I've done a couple of those so far, and they have not gone well. So I think there's going to be a place for it. I don't know how many people are going to attend it. Again, it's not something that I necessarily enjoy going to, but.
Right. But if you can get seen by a bunch of investors that you might not have got in front of before.
Yeah. I mean,
if regional.
It's one of those, I put it in the it can't hurt bucket. I don't know if I have, there's a small number of success stories I can point to that, people got funded because of that. But, again,
but if it's not like, first of all, if you're paying as a startup,
that's tough.
A strike. And if it's like you say, if it's going to be like a full day is a lot of time when you're early stage and you're kind of one of a few people doing everything. There's
also some benefits of being like for CED to be seen, like you're kind of, especially if you're sort of an up and coming startup,
right?
It's to be present, to be announced as one of the companies. It kind of puts you on the map.
And it is a bit of a stamp of approval, and folks like us, we definitely use the list as companies to write about, and so then that's some publicity for them. It's a little someone giving you. Joe and I talked about this last week with NC Idea grants, and that's actual money. But also someone outside saying, and this is a real thing that has a chance to be something. It's not just, someone with an idea.
So there's a little bit of validation there.
Right.
I think Jim, actually, he's got a good comment here that extroverts need live events. I'm an introvert, despite what people that have worked with me have told me. And so I don't like those kind of events as much, but extroverts, absolutely, I could see that being something that's just helpful to them.
Yeah, I have and also their events tend to have alcohol, which I find to be Plus,
and free food. But again, are you now, in a post-COVID world, are you going to be grazing on the food tray?
I will have, once people are vaccinated, I will have 0.0% problem diving right back in the food. But people, and frankly, if other people are a little taken aback, that's more food.
More. You maybe grab the 2 sandwich boxes.
Yeah, I'll just kind of like scoop in. They're like, "What? Oh, you don't want any more? I guess I'll take more."
The cookies are typically wrapped anyway, right? So the risk is like virtually nil there.
That's true. I can guess some people are worried about the hands on the cookies, but I won't be.
Okay, that's good to know.
Oh, you're saying maybe your people are gonna like individually wrap, like if they have those trays of cookies, or
the sandwich boxes. Wrapped? Sometimes they come with like a cookie that's already been.
Yeah. Would you be
safe.
Concerned about the cookie being unwrapped within the box that someone put it in?
If it was in a box, maybe if it was out, even though they say you can't ingest COVID, right? It's not like something you can.
Right.
But I don't know. Just the whole buffet thing, and we're getting a little bit off topic. I don't know if buffets are going to survive.
These are the topics. These are the topics
of the day. Yeah. Okay. Well, buffets. Let's switch to buffets. I think buffets are going to struggle post-COVID. I don't see that.
Oh, I think like buffet.
Yeah, buffet style eating. I just don't know.
Yeah. That's going to be.
I just think that's tough.
I think,
especially if you got to like hold, the handle of the spoon or the whatever, and you're.
That's true. That's a bit of a mess. So are people going to be like serving you? Yeah, I think the Perkins, the reign of Perkins is kind of. Are there Perkins around here?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
My wife's one of her favorite restaurants is Milton's in North Raleigh. I know some people may have gone there. They have a buffet. Yeah, it's an Italian place, but they do buffet for lunch, I guess. And so she's very disappointed in that.
Shoney's? Are there a lot of Shoney's here?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of Shoney's?
I'm aware of Shoney's. There are KFCs that have some buffets, but only a limited number.
Yeah, they seem to
done that
phase
before.
them out. I love fried chicken.
Yep.
That is actually my favorite food.
Nice. Well, all right. Next topic: best fried chicken. We don't even have to go there because we both will say Bojangles, but.
I like Bojangles. I will say I'm a Popeyes above Bojangles.
All right.
Someone in Where's Pete? Clyde Cooper's barbecue was 2 weeks ago, and one of the readers said that place has the best fried chicken. Do you know anything about the fried chicken there?
What's the name of it?
Clyde Cooper's barbecue. I wouldn't think that a barbecue place would also be really good at fried chicken because there's no barbecue.
Yeah. Well,
typically different genres of chicken.
Well, oftentimes barbecue places will have fried chicken, and I'm not at like Smithfield's and those kind of, and I'm just
it's like I'm here for the barbecue. I would think you're good at that. If I want fried chicken, I'm going to go to a place that specializes in that. I'm not going to go to Popeyes or Bojangles and ask for like the steak.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they don't have steak, but
I don't know. I mean, I will say I lost a little bit of respect for you with the Popeyes comment. I mean,
it's spicy.
Yeah. I guess you're from Louisiana, right? So
I'm from New York, but I did live in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. You like LSU? I'm
already a Popeyes fan. I am an LSU fan. All right, we are going to do winner of the week, maybe, but we do have to plug something or make an announcement.
Oh,
okay. So
here we go.
Grep Beat is a Grep Beat branded podcast. It's going to be a new one hosted by Robbie Allen, right? Can you tell us what is the name of it?
For starters.
For starters.
It's going to be all about starting companies. How to start it, why to start it, should you start it, once you've started.
Okay. And it's sponsored. We have a sponsor.
Robinson Bradshaw. Yep. Glenn Kaplan has come in. He's a longtime attorney of mine, and
he's also the Grep Beat Godfathers attorney.
There we go.
Pronto, and I guess Calpe Ventures. So, by extension, our attorney here at Grep Beat. Okay, when is that starting? Actually, we didn't
even talk about that. We're shooting for the first week of March.
Okay. All right. That's news to me. You're breaking news here. That is news to Grep Beat. But, it's all good. It's all good news.
I thought I've heard a little bit of skepticism or maybe surprise, like that may not be. You didn't think I could put it together that quickly.
No, I have full confidence in you. Well, that's like 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks, something like that. Have you done any interviews?
No, I haven't done the interviews yet, but I do have the topic list together.
Okay, all right. Well, that's more than I have for anything. Do we need to sell another Pete Meets? We did. There's definitely next series coming because I'm going to sponsor that, but that's probably this summer. And we're about to circle likely someone for Pete Meets. So if you're a sponsor out there, you better rush because there's a big line. It's like at an airport, like the jumbo jets are lining up to sponsor Pete Meets. So you want to get in there before it's too late.
Well, maybe what we could do is we could take that long line that we had for starters, everybody wanted to sponsor that, and now that's secured, we could divert them over to yours.
We cut some of them loose, and so they're just like throwing money. And like I can show you around. There's money just being thrown in the office there. Mm-hmm. It's more digital, so maybe you can't see it. No one uses cash.
It's Bitcoin. I saw the Bitcoins in the air.
You know, Rose, I have like cash in my wallet that's been there for like a year. Like, I'm not even sure what to do with it.
Well, do you use cash? Me and I'll figure it out.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess it works. I just don't.
All my cash goes to my kids. Like, I don't typically use cash, but like,
maybe that's why I still have cash.
Yeah, that's probably
it. All right. So
speaking of cash, we should talk about the winner for this week.
Oh, okay. See, I was gonna give me your winner.
GameStop. Come on now. I mean, they have to be the winner. I mean,
but they're
but still they're like $300. $300.
GameStop is not the winner. Reddit is the winner.
Wall Street Bets, I guess, is the winner, but
like they're not getting the money. Reddit's getting the publicity, and people are like, "Oh, Reddit's pretty powerful."
The GameStop, you got to think the executives at GameStop are just
some of them, to the extent that they have stock, I'm sure they're selling right now. Now, GameStop has not issued new shares. I think AMC did.
Did they?
So I think that would be smart if GameStop did it, because otherwise they're not getting. It's not like the fact that the shares go up that doesn't really benefit them that much.
Well, the question
is, some executives.
Have you ever had a winner that's also the loser the next week? Because that's probably also going to be GameStop.
I mean, it might be a loser in like an hour.
Yeah, it's going to come crashing down for sure.
It's it's crazy. The malls are still dying. GameStop is still dying. I saw someone tweet like, "Hey, I went to GameStop. I bought all the the Funko figurines and Atari keychains. Where's my money?" Like. Just give me $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So that does it for this week. Oh, there is an outro.
We're done already. Wait a second. Before that outro completely drowned me out.
Over.
Come on. And, we're just getting started. Come on.
And well, and people can watch this on YouTube, on Facebook Live.
We didn't even talk about UNC versus Duke. I mean, come on.
We can. That's like another week. Is that Thursday? Next Saturday?
5th.
6th? Next Saturday? Okay. If you wanted to talk about it, there was your chance. I gave you like 3 seconds to talk about it. You couldn't even tell me when the game was.
Me on this date thing. Who cares about a date?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to play the outro, and of course, everyone should subscribe to GrepBeat and look for the 4 Starters podcast. And if you want to start a company, do it with Startomatic.
Look at these
the outro.
Who wants a shirt?
Bye, everyone.
Bye.